This is going to be the only video you need to watch about the new Lightning Lane service at Walt Disney World. Hello my lovely humans, I am Kenzie and I am thrilled to be sharing a masterclass with you today to teach you how to use the new Lightning Lane service at Walt Disney World. We are in Magic Kingdom and we are going to go through everything today from A to Z. Consider this your masterclass. We're going to talk about when to book, how to book, all the best tips and tricks. I have the privilege of living in Orlando. I've used this system several times and I've already figured out all the best tips and tricks. I'm going to share them all with you today so you not only know how to use it, but you also know how to optimize the service to get the most out of your investment and of course your vacation. So let's go have a magical day. So what exactly is this new service? Well, it is called Lightning Lane Multi-Pass and Lightning Lane Single Pass. And these services are replacing Disney Genie Plus and individual Lightning Lane. So if you come across content, articles, or other information with these names, just know that these systems are the old systems that Disney used to use and it is now being replaced with these new systems. So that information is outdated. It is Disney's Skip the Line service. So essentially you can pay extra. It is an add-on to your ticket in order to access a special expedited line called the Lightning Lane. And these lines are typically around 5 to 15 minutes in length. So again, it will save you a lot of time, but it does cost a lot of money. So it is something to take into account for your trip. Unfortunately, you can't just walk up to these lines either. You have to book them through your My Disney Experience app, which I will show you how to do today. So don't worry about that at all. It's also important to note that you do not have to buy these services at all. These are an add-on service. You can currently ride every single attraction and ride at Walt Disney World for free, and you can do that using the standby queue at any time, or some select attractions have something called a virtual queue, but I will break down exactly what rides and attractions those are and how to use those today. So don't worry, it's a lot of information, but I'm going to break it down into bite-sized pieces so it doesn't get too overwhelming. Let's get started. Let's start off by talking about Lightning Lane Multi-Pass. So this is the system that replaced Disney Genie Plus. If you're familiar with it, it does have some similarities. If you're not, don't worry. I'm going to give you all the information you need regardless. So essentially you have to pay per person per day in order to utilize this service. And again, it's the Skip the Line service for select attractions. Unfortunately, Disney does not release the price of what this will look like until a couple of weeks before your trip, and so it's hard to know what the exact price will be. It is priced based upon demand, and so during busier times of year it's always more expensive, and during slower times of year it is less. In order to help you budget, I do have some averages to share, but just keep in mind that if you are coming during Christmas or summer or during spring break or a really busy time, that it will likely fall outside of these averages on the higher end. Magic Kingdom is always the most expensive because it has the most amount of options, and it's really nice because you can basically use it all day. And then Animal Kingdom is the one that is always the least expensive because it has the least amount of options, and also it is always less in demand compared to the other options. Okay, let me go ahead and pull up the averages. I did some research so I could share this information with you. All right, so Magic Kingdom on average is anywhere from $25 to $29 per person per day on average. Hollywood Studios is anywhere from $22 to $26 per person per day on average. EPCOT is anywhere from $18 to $21 per person per day on average. And Animal Kingdom is anywhere from $15 to $20 per person per day on average. So hopefully that helps you just budget a little bit and just give you kind of a feel for what to expect if this is a service that you do want to use. The good news is that if you do decide to park hop, and that is something that you want to do, the system can help you do that, and you don't have to do anything extra. You basically will purchase the park that you want to start in for the day, and during the pre-selection process you will select 3 attractions, and I'm going to show you exactly how to do this, so don't worry in terms of what you want for the day. But as soon as you check into that first attraction, you will unlock park hopping availability for yourself, so that part is really fun. I personally love park hopping, but I know it's not for everybody. Just keep in mind that your ticket obviously has to be eligible in order to park hop. There are special tickets and they're more expensive if you are going to park hop, and park hopping means doing something like going from a park from Magic Kingdom to EPCOT, for example. And so if you do check into that first attraction, reservation, you unlock the park hopping availability, and you can start booking in whatever park you want. You can also modify the other 2 that you originally made to whatever park you want as well. And so once you check into that first reservation, it's key. So I do recommend trying to making that first reservation as early as possible in the morning, because it will give you more options throughout the day. I will get into when and how you can book these multi-passes very soon, but before I do, there is an important subject that we need to cover, and that is the tiers system. So if you have used FastPass Plus in the past, you're probably familiar with the concept of the tiers. If you've never heard of it or you've never used it, don't worry, just pretend like I never said anything. It's just a reference point for those that have used that in the past, because it's a very familiar concept. Okay, so essentially there are Tier 1 attractions and Tier 2 attractions in most of the Disney World parks. And when you're doing your initial bookings, you can only book 1 from Tier 1 and then 2 from Tier 2. Of course, if you don't book any from Tier 1, you can book all 3 in Tier 2. That's completely fine as well. But that is what you can expect in the morning. So let's go ahead and go through each park and the different tiers and what is available, just so you are aware of what your options will be if you decide to purchase this. Okay. So at Magic Kingdom for Tier 1, you can choose 1 from this group. You have Big Thunder Mountain Railroad, Jungle Cruise, Peter Pan's Flight, Space Mountain, Tiana's Bayou Adventure, and then Magic Kingdom Tier 2. So again, you can choose 2 of these experiences or all 3 from this group. You have the Barnstormer, Buzz Lightyear's Space Ranger Spin, Dumbo the Flying Elephant, Haunted Mansion, It's a Small World, Mad Tea Party, the Magic Carpets of Aladdin, The Many Adventures of Winnie the Pooh, Mickey's PhilharMagic, Monsters Inc. Laugh Floor, Pirates of the Caribbean, Tomorrowland Speedway, Under the Sea Journey of the Little Mermaid. For EPCOT, for Tier 1, you can choose up to 1 from this group. You have Frozen Ever After and Remy's Ratatouille Adventure, as well as Soarin' Around the World. For EPCOT Tier 2, you can choose 2 experiences or all 3 from the group if you didn't choose 1 from Tier 1. Your options are Disney and Pixar Short Film Festival, Journey into Imagination with Figment, Living with the Land, Mission Space, The Seas with Nemo and Friends, Spaceship Earth, and Turtle Talk with Crush. At Disney's Hollywood Studios, the Tier 1 options that you can choose from, again, you can choose up to 1 option from this group, is Minnie and Mickey's Runaway Railway, Millennium Falcon Smuggler's Run, Rock and Roller Coaster starring Aerosmith, Slinky Dog Dash. For Disney's Hollywood Studios, you can choose 2 experiences, or again, up to 3 from the group. If you didn't choose 1 from Tier 1, you can choose from Alien Swirling Saucers, Beauty and the Beast Live on Stage, Disney Junior Play and Dance, For the First Time and Forever, a Frozen Sing-Along Celebration, Indiana Jones Epic Stunt Spectacular, Muppet Vision 3D, Star Tours The Adventures Continues, The Twilight Zone, Tower of Terror, Toy Story Mania. And then at Disney's Animal Kingdom, there are no tiers. This is the only park that does not follow the tier system. So you can choose up to 3 from the following list: Dinosaur, Expedition Everest, Legend of the Forbidden Mountain, Feathered Friends in Flight, Festival of the Lion King, Finding Nemo, The Big Blue, and Beyond, It's Tough to Be a Bug, Cali River Rapids, Kilimanjaro Safaris, and Navi River Journey. One thing to note is that if you are used to the Disney Genie Plus service, there are some things that were available with Genie Plus that are not currently available with the new Lightning Lane service. Of course, that could change. Things change all the time with Disney. If things do change, I will change it in the show notes, so be sure to check there for any updates if any have happened, since this will be our master go-to video for everything you need to know. Okay friends, let's talk about Lightning Lane Single Pass and everything that you need to know about this part of the system. Okay, so Lightning Lane Single Pass attractions I refer to as first class attractions. The reason why I refer to them that way is because they are the most popular attractions in each of the 4 parks. So at Magic Kingdom, that is Seven Dwarfs Mine Train, which is currently behind us. It is also Tron Light Cycle Run. At Animal Kingdom, it's Avatar Flight of Passage. At Hollywood Studios, it's Rise of the Resistance. And at EPCOT, it's Guardians of the Galaxy. In order to access the Lightning Lane for these attractions, you have to pay an additional fee per person per day in order to reserve these attractions. It is not a part of the multi-pass system, so it is completely separate. You can hold up to 2 per person per day, and it doesn't have to be in the same park. So for example, you could buy one here in Magic Kingdom, and you could also buy one in Hollywood Studios if your ticket has park hopper availability, of course, and you have the ability to do so, and of course the desire to do so, since it is a lot to be able to park hop here at Walt Disney World. Hopefully you can hear me with the roller coaster behind me. So this is a really fun way to be able to skip the lines if you want to, but obviously it adds up very quickly. I actually do have some of the average costs for you. So the price for these attractions also varies by day and by attraction. So it is a little hard to know exactly how much they are actually going to cost until you get in there and you can actually go in and start booking them. But I can give you some averages just so you can get a feel. Just keep in mind, if you're going during busier times of year, of course it's going to be more expensive. So for example, if you're here during the week of Christmas or you're here during spring break, the prices are going to be on the higher side, versus if you come in a random week in February, then they'll be on the lower side. And so this will kind of help you hopefully budget and kind of get a feel for how much you need to save for your trip. Okay, so let's kind of go through what these prices look like. So for Rise of the Resistance, I would say that it's usually anywhere from $22 to $25 on average. For Tron, it's usually around $20, and again, this is per person per attraction. For Guardians of the Galaxy, it's usually around $15 to $17. For Avatar Flight of Passage, it's usually anywhere from $14 to $16. And for Seven Dwarfs Mine Train, it's usually $11 or $12. So as you can see and tell, these can add up really quickly. So for example, if Rise of the Resistance is $20 per person per day and you're a family of 4, that's already $100, and that is not including multi-pass. That is another thing that is important to note. Just because you buy multi-pass does not mean that you have to buy single pass, and vice versa. You can buy one or the other. The systems are not intertwined in any way, and so that part is at least nice. I will say that one last pro tip is that if you have someone in your party that does not want to ride a single pass attraction, or maybe they're just not tall enough, for example, that is completely okay, but my recommendation is a little bit different from multi-pass. So what I would do in that instance is go ahead and book your multi-pass reservation for everybody, and then I would go back and then individually go ahead and buy the single passes for the people in your party that are tall enough to ride and want to ride. That recommendation is obviously different from multi-pass, where you can go in and modify, because you cannot get refunds for single pass attractions. You can modify them, but you can't get refunds. So let's talk about booking windows. It's important to note that you do not have to buy a single pass in order to buy multi-pass, and vice versa. In fact, you don't have to buy any of these systems at all. But if you do want to buy them and you are staying at a Walt Disney World resort, and this includes Swan and Dolphin and Shades of Green, you will be able to start purchasing them 7 days out of the first day of your trip. And so that is really important to note. Be sure to mark your calendars if that is something that you want, because they do go extremely fast, especially the hard to get headliners. And if you are staying off property at all, or any of your members of your party are staying off property and they are not linked to your hotel reservation, unfortunately you cannot book with them during that early booking window. So that part is really unfortunate. I wish it was different, but that's just the way it works. They have to be linked to your My Disney Experience Resort reservation in order to get the early booking window. Now, if you are staying off property and you have a multi-day ticket, then you can book 3 days out for the first day of your ticket for the entire ticket. So for example, if you have a 3-day ticket, you can book for the entire 3 days starting the first day of your trip 3 days before. So, not confusing at all, right? I've got you though, so don't worry. If you have a single day ticket or an annual pass, then you can only book for that day 3 days before. So again, be sure to mark your calendars, because it does get competitive. Again, there are ways to be able to modify things to get things you aren't able to get during the initial pre-booking window. So don't panic if you don't get everything that you want right away. I'll be able to show you how to do all of that. The booking windows do open right at 7 a.m. Eastern time, so make sure you're online and you're ready to go and you know exactly what you want, because everything does go fast and it's highly competitive. Unfortunately, international guests will not be able to book until they are on US soil unless they are Canadian. And I have heard that some Canadians are still having trouble booking I've heard Quebec is a common area where people are having trouble. So that being said, I feel so awful for all international guests. I think Disney does too. I know they are really trying to solve the issue. It really has nothing to do with their policy, but GDPR concerns from what I've heard. And so I think they are actively working on some sort of solution. But you can book as soon as you are on US soil if you're not able to book and you are one of those international guests that are not in Canada. But that's another reason why I wanted to make this video, is because I want to show you all of the tips and tricks on how to modify and how to get what you want if you can't take advantage of the 7-day or 3-day booking windows. I'm going to throw it back to Past Kenzie. We're gonna do some time traveling, and she's gonna show you exactly how to book things in advance for those early booking windows. So let's go have some fun with Past Kenzie. Hello my lovely humans, Past Kenzie is here to show you exactly what you will need to do when your booking window opens in order to book all of those lightning lanes that you want for your vacation. The first thing to note is that you absolutely need the My Disney Experience app on your phone. You cannot book these lightning lanes any other way. So you can't book them on your laptop or any other way on your phone, on the internet browser, or anything like that. You have to have the app. So make sure you go to the App Store, you download My Disney Experience, and you get it ready to go. Honestly, this is just a pro level tip in general because you're really going to want this app on your vacation, trust me. So make sure you have your app installed and ready to go at that time. The booking windows do open at 7 a.m. Eastern time. So again, that is the time zone you will be in when you are in the lovely state of Florida. So keep that in mind. You want to be ready to go right at 7 a.m. Honestly, even a little bit before would be my recommendation. Just make sure you're on the app, ready to go, ready to click, because it is highly competitive to book these lightning lanes. And so you want to make sure you know where to go and what you're doing and what you want. So also make sure you have a plan before the morning, and not only a plan of what you ideally want, but also some backup options in case what you want isn't available is also a pretty good rule of thumb in my opinion, so that you don't have to sit there, trying to talk to family members about it or make decisions when you're kind of tired and just out of it and kind of stressed out in general probably from this whole experience. So make sure you know what you want and you're ready to go right at 7 a.m. Prior to 7 a.m., you want to make sure that you have My Disney Experience app installed on your phone. You can log in, you know how to use it, you're familiar with it, all of those things, of course. But you also want to make sure that your family and friends list are connected on My Disney Experience before your booking window opens. It's extremely important because if they are not listed, you won't be able to include them on your reservation. And that will definitely, obviously, cause some heartache later. Granted, if this does happen to you and it's just like a situation where you're really stressed out, you can always go to a blue umbrella at the parks, which are cast members that can help you essentially try to fix anything that comes up. But ideally, you don't want to waste your time having to deal with that on your vacation, and you have everything set up already on your phone. So I'm going to show you how to do all of this. Of course, there are multiple ways to navigate the My Disney Experience app to get to the things we're going to be talking about today, but I'll share the easiest way that I think there is to get to these things, but just know there's always multiple ways to navigate in this app. Okay, so I will have a screen share in the corner for you so you can see what I'm doing in real time and you know exactly where to go on your app. So let's go ahead and pull up My Disney Experience. So what you're gonna wanna do is hit the hamburger in the corner. So the hamburger is the 3 lines there in the corner, in the right-hand corner. And you are going to scroll down to the section that says Account. And under Account, you will see Profile. So go ahead and click on Profile. And then on the right-hand side, you will see Family and Friends List. So that is the list. That is very important that you're gonna wanna click. So go ahead and click on that. And then you'll see We're Planning Together. So ideally, your friends and family will already be listed there most of the time. Those are the people that are on your reservation already, hopefully. So that's where they will be. And then under that, you'll also see My Other Family and Friends as well. If you have anybody that you've connected with, it could be blank, it could be empty, that's totally fine too. But essentially you want to make sure that everybody that you're trying to book for Lightning Lane at any point during your trip is on this list. If they are not, that is okay. You can scroll down and there is a section where it says Add a Guest. So you can click on that right there, and then it will give you a couple of options in order to link them to your account. So you can either find them through connected guests. So essentially what that is the system is going to automatically recommend a couple of people that it thinks that you're trying to connect to. I'll be honest, the people that are listed on mine, I've never heard of, so I'm not really sure how well this works, but hey, that could be an easy solution if the person you're looking for is there. And if not, that's okay, because there are some other options for you. You can manually enter their name and age as the second option, but my recommendation is to select the third option, which is scan their linking code. And it basically will kind of give you instructions right there on exactly how to do it. But if you're with the person, it's pretty easy because you can just scan it like a QR code. You just click scan linking code, the camera opens up, and you can just scan it and you can easily connect. Of course, if they're not physically with you for whatever reason, that's okay too. You can manually enter a code, which is right under where the camera is. And you can click that and you can manually type in a QR code, and then it will easily essentially add them to the list. Now, if you want to know where your QR code is, then you can kind of go back to that family and friends list and you click on my profile and you scroll down and you click show my linking code. And then you click show my linking code again, and then it will have your unique linking code on that page. And then under your unique linking code that someone can easily just scan, take the picture of, and will be automatically added, will be the manual code right there for someone to type in. Now, it's important to know that this code expires in 30 minutes and it regenerates again. So if it's more than 30 minutes before the person can enter it, then it will regenerate. So be sure to go back in and give them the correct code and they can go ahead and get you added that way. So in order to purchase it, it's pretty simple. You just open your My Disney Experience app and it's right at the top. They have it Lightning Lane multi-pass / single pass, and you can purchase it right there. Another way to get to the same screen is to hit the hamburger, and there is also a section in the corner where that says Lightning Lane passes, and you can always purchase it there as well as view your various Lightning Lane passes there as well. So pretty simple to do. But in order to book it, you go ahead and click the booking button, and then you will see the calendar of dates. So make sure that you go to the date that you want. And then once you've done that, it will go ahead and open it up and you can select a park. So as we discussed earlier, you can only pick one park in order to book all 3 of your reservations in. So you want to pick the park that you're ideally starting in that day. And so you can kind of see on this screen that Magic Kingdom is right here, and then you can purchase either multi-pass for Magic Kingdom and it has the amount, and then it has the 2 Lightning Lane single pass options for Magic Kingdom below. EPCOT, it's the same way. Hollywood Studios, you can see the same format, and Animal Kingdom, you can see the same format. So you'll see all of that right away in the morning. So for multi-pass, you're gonna wanna select the park that you're starting in, but of course for the single pass reservations, it doesn't have to be in the same park if you are trying to book that in the morning. So that's something to keep in mind. So the morning of for the video that I'm shooting now, I booked Lightning Lane multi-pass for Magic Kingdom, and then at first I did book a single pass for Seven Dwarfs Mine Train, but later I modified it to Guardians of the Galaxy Cosmic Rewind and EPCOT, and I'll show you how to modify later as well, so you'll kind of get a chance to see that. But you can do that all in one transaction, which is really nice because you couldn't do that with Genie Plus before. So you click continue once you have what you want, and then you select the party members that you want to book for. So if for some reason you're not booking with everyone on the same day, not a problem, you can just unselect them. Now there is one thing to note here. If other people in your party, they don't want to like ride the same things, or there's a height requirement situation where maybe you have some littles that aren't tall enough to like ride what you're trying to book for, and so certain individuals in your party will be riding other things, for example, and things like that, you are going to run into those situations. And unfortunately, just the way this is set up, you kind of have to maneuver it in a unique way. So I'm going to go ahead and tell you how to do that. My recommendation is to book the hardest to get things for everybody in your party right away. And then later you can go in and modify for those that aren't tall enough or don't want to ride something into the less popular attraction, because they'll still be available and it'll be easy to get, and you won't have to worry about that. And because you don't want to risk something that you really want. want. So for example, maybe you have a little that isn't tall enough to ride Tiana's Bayou Adventure, but they're going to go with maybe a parent and they're going to go, I don't know, ride It's a Small World, for example, or something like that. And so what I would do is I would go ahead and book everyone for Tiana's Bayou Adventure. That one's extremely hard to get right now. For sure, it's the hottest ticket in town. So go ahead and book everybody for that and then go in and modify that child later, as well as the parent that wants to do It's a Small World for the same time. And that won't be a problem at all. And then that way, nobody will miss out. So that's my recommendation on that. So select all members of your party that you want to book for that day, then click continue. And then it will show you the 2 sections of rides for you to choose from. So you'll have the top tier attractions, the tier 1 attractions at the top, and then you will have the tier 2 attractions at the bottom. And so the way that this is laid out is super simple. Disney did a great job with this. You can obviously select one tier 1 attraction, and then you can select 2 to 3, obviously, if you don't select one from tier 1, from tier 2 as well. And so you can go ahead and click on whatever ones that you feel like you want. So for our wonderful day together, I chose Space Mountain, Pirates of the Caribbean, and Haunted Mansion. I will say that Haunted Mansion is going extremely fast as a tier 2 attraction, where Genie Plus, that didn't go fast. So definitely consider doing that if you want it first thing in the morning. And then I would have chosen Tiana's Bayou Adventure, but unfortunately it wasn't available in the morning, so that's a bummer, but we can always try to modify later, which I will definitely do, and I will show you how to do as well. And so that's what it looks like for now. Unfortunately, the earliest time I could get for Space Mountain was 11:35 a.m. I was really hoping for something earlier, and since filming this video, I've tried to modify it several times with absolutely no luck, but I will definitely try day of with all of you and see if we can get something earlier and see what happens as well. So stay tuned for all of that, but essentially that's how you book everything. And again, the single pass attraction I booked when I was recording this was Seven Dwarfs Mine Train. Later, I modified it to a different attraction. So now you know how to book everything. You can check out from there, and it's super simple. One thing to note is the system only gives you 5 minutes before you have to select something to check out. And so you do have to move relatively quickly with these things, and you don't want to like lose out. So that's again another reason why it's super important to have your plan and to know what you want and to move forward from there. The system will automatically generate times for you as well in terms of what it thinks would be best for your day around any dining reservations that you have or other reservations that you have in your My Disney Experience app. But one really important thing to note is you can modify them before you check out. So go ahead and click modify, try to see if there's earlier times or maybe later times, just depending on what it is you're looking for, and you can go from there. So you can do that before you check out. The interesting thing for me is when I went to check out, I got an error message several times. Luckily, it actually went through, even though there was an error message for whatever reason several times. So if that happens to you, don't worry. Sometimes in the morning, there are like weird bugs that happen since so many people are on the app trying to do this all at one time. You always go back to your home screen and see if it's listed. And if it is, you're good to go. And if it's not, then just try to force close the application, reopen My Disney Experience, and then try again. Just remain calm, whatever you do. Trust me, I've been there several times. It will be okay. It all will work out. Even if you don't get everything you want and you don't get the perfect times that you want, there are ways to try to fix it throughout the day. And I'm going to show you all of the pro tips in order to do that, so you're going to be set up for success. Let's head back to Future Kenzie and let's go have a magical park day together. Okay, so the good news is we were able to modify the Haunted Mansion from this evening to 10:10 a.m., which is fantastic. And we were also able to move Pirates of the Caribbean up. So we have some stacking essentially going on. We have Haunted Mansion from 10:10 a.m. to 11:10 a.m., Space Mountain from 11:35 a.m. to 12:35 p.m., and Pirates from 12:20 to 1:20. So let's go experience some magic together.
Kindly step all the way in, please, and make room for everyone. There's no turning back now.
Now everyone, gather your bodies.
Let's talk about tapping into your Lightning Lane pass. The first Lightning Lane pass you have for the day, as soon as you tap in with that beautiful Mickey head glowing, you are eligible to go ahead and book another Lightning Lane pass. And I recommend that you do this right away. So have a plan for the day and sort of be thinking about what you want to book next, because the lines are fairly short. Usually you're only waiting 5 to 10 minutes, sometimes less, and so you only have a brief window to book another one. So go ahead and book it, even if it's not for the time that you want. You can always modify it later, which I will show you how to do if I haven't already. And some important things to note are some attractions have 2 tap-in points, some have 1. Most have 1, but some have 2. It's probably the best way to say it. So if you're not sure, you can always ask the cast member at the first tap-in point if there is another one, and they will tell you. Or you can go ahead and pull up your app and it will tell you if you're eligible to go ahead and book another reservation or not. So if you're shy or you don't want to ask or it's too crowded or whatever, then don't worry, your app will always tell you. And you can always try, worst case scenario, you won't be able to, and you'll just know that there's another one coming up and you'll be able to soon. So that's what to know about tapping in. Another thing to note is that tapping into your first Lightning Lane unlocks several different things for you. So the first thing that it unlocks is park hopping abilities. So if you have an eligible park hopper ticket, meaning if you're at Magic Kingdom and you want to hop over to EPCOT, for example, later in the night and start booking things over there, you can do that if you want. The other thing that it allows you to do is you can go in to those Tier 2 reservations that you made in the morning several days before, depending on when your booking window open. You can go ahead and modify those attractions into Tier 1 attractions at the park you're in. So for example, Magic Kingdom or another park, if you have that park hopper ticket. So if you wanted to go to EPCOT later in the day and you wanted to try to get a headliner, you could definitely do that as well. So keep that in mind, and don't forget that first tap in is essential because it does so many things for you. It allows you to go ahead and book another one immediately. It unlocks park hopping if you're eligible and you want to, and it unlocks the fact that you can modify those Tier 2s into Tier 1 reservations. Okay, my lovely humans, we are about to talk about one of the most important topics, and that is modifying your times and your reservations. We're going to talk about multi-pass and single pass, also known as first class attractions, but let's start with multi-pass. Now, first thing in the morning, obviously, when your booking window opens, whether that's a week out if you're a resort guest or 3 days out if you are not, you don't have to accept the times that the system gives you. As I showed you in the morning when we booked together, you can modify those right there. You can also modify for the days leading up until the day you're in the park when you're using the system. So feel free to go ahead and try to do that if there's something better that you would like. Additionally, once you're in the park, you can continue to try to modify. And I love this. I love that you get to pick your times. Unlike with Genie Plus, you get to actually choose your time and you can kind of play around a little bit more and try to get that ideal time for you. So in my opinion, the best way to do this is to go ahead and open your My Disney Experience app and to go to your home screen and click on one of the Lightning Lanes that you have booked and click Modify Plan. And then once you do that, it's going to load, and you can just basically take the screen and you just do this. And you just continue to refresh. I like to call it playing the Wheel of Fortune, also known as Roulette, to see if you can get a better time that you're looking for that attraction. Now there are some ways that I'm going to show you, some pro level tips in my opinion, if you're looking for a different attraction that's already out for the day, for example. So I'll show you how to do that in a little bit. Now, let's go ahead and talk about single pass attractions, which again are those first class attractions. If you want to change those, you can, which is great because previously you couldn't do that with individual Lightning Lanes. So all you have to do is go in and again modify that, and if there are different times available, you can select a different time, which is wonderful. But if you want to switch to a completely different park and a completely different attraction, you can also do that as well, which I think is fantastic. So the way that works is you go in and you modify and you can select the different attraction. Now, if the new attraction you selected is more expensive, so for example, for me, I went from Seven Dwarfs Mine Train to Guardians of the Galaxy Cosmic Rewind. That means it will charge you more, so you'll have to accept that charge. If you go to one that you already booked one that was more expensive, so let's say you were already riding Guardians of the Galaxy, but you wanted to switch to something like Seven Dwarfs Mine Train and it was less expensive that day, the system will not refund you. So it definitely is in your best interest to try to book the one you want first if it's going to be less expensive, but just know that it is possible if things are still available. Now they do run out extremely quickly, very fast, so I don't recommend, you know, going with this approach, but it is good to know that it is possible. Let's go ahead and ride Space Mountain, and then I'm going to show you that pro level tip to basically keep your eye on and try to easily get the attractions that have run out for the day. All right, let's go race through space. Okay, so one thing to note is the attraction footage you're about to see from Space Mountain was filmed before Disney changed the rule to no filming on this attraction. Again, it was previously recorded back when the rules were different, so enjoy the footage, but just know you're not supposed to film on this attraction anymore. Okay, this is a really good opportunity to show you the difference between the entrances. So on the left here, you can see the standby entrance, which is for free. Anyone can ride anytime through the standby entrance. And then on the right-hand side, you will actually see the lightning lane entrance, which is the entrance you will go through if you are using the lightning lane system. So now you know what to look for when you enter the different attractions. This definitely shows you how much line skipping you can do with lightning lane. We are just quickly walking by the standby line on the left-hand side. So Space Mountain is an example of an attraction that has 2 touch points. I know I look really dark right now, but you won't be able to book your next lightning lane until you touch into the second touch point on this ride. If for some reason you would like to go ahead and book a different experience than you currently have booked and you want to modify it, then go in and click the 3 dots again and click modify, and then scroll down, and below where you would change the time, you will see pick a new experience. And you can pick it in the park that you're currently in or a different park. So at the top, you will see Magic Kingdom, you will see EPCOT, you will see Hollywood Studios, and you will see Animal Kingdom. So it's really easy to switch between the parks. Modify screen is the holy grail in my opinion. This is where I always go if I'm trying to modify something, no matter what it is that I'm trying to modify. And you just kind of go in and you can see what's available, and if you see something that you would like to change it to, then you can click that attraction and then click change to this time, and then make sure you go through all of the different screens and save it so that it actually saves in your plan. So that's another way you can do things. If you want to set this up to optimize it for yourself and have all of your favorites saved at the top, that is very pro level, and I'm going to teach you how to do that. So in order to do that, you have to set up your My Genie day, and that part is really important. So when you are on the section where it has Tipboard and My Day, you will see a section to set up your Genie day. And if you've already set it up, it's not a problem. You can just click Edit Trip Preferences. And if you want to like park hop, or you decide you want to park hop later, or you want to add an additional park, that's where you're going to go to do this. So go ahead and click that, and it will pop up for you. You click the dates that you're currently on. So today, continue. And then you click all of your family and friends that you want to include in this planning process. And then from there, you can select the attractions that you are looking for that day, whatever's high priority. So let's just say, today at Magic Kingdom, I really want to ride Tiana's Bayou Adventure. I wasn't able to get it, but I want it to be pinned as a favorite on the top. Then I can select that attraction. I can click continue, and then after that, I recommend you just click continue until it gets to the end for you, and then that thing will be pinned to the top. So if you go in and you try to modify something that you currently have existing, and you then go, it's loading right now, so I'll show you once it loads, and then you refresh the page, it will now be pinned to the top as a favorite. There will be a gold star, it'll be right at the top. So that way you can grab it if something immediately becomes available whenever you're playing Roulette. and so that part is super nice. And you can switch between parks, and it automatically will refresh between parks. And if you want to have favorites saved for multiple parks, then all you do is go back into that again, and you select a different park as your trip preference, and it will also save favorites for that park as well. So you can have favorites for multiple parks throughout the day. I think this is a huge advantage over the way that Genie Plus used to be. The UX is great. They make it really easy to play roulette, to refresh and see what's available. So have fun with it throughout the day, and maybe you will get lucky. May the odds ever be in your favor. As a friendly reminder, we are not trying to book as many lightning lanes as we possibly can in one day today. The goal of today is just to have an overview of the system, make sure we pause and explain everything to you so that you feel like you have a full understanding of exactly how everything works. Granted, if you do want to see something like that, a challenge to see how many we can book in one day, I'd be happy to make that video for you as well. So just let me know in the comments below.
Scurvy skunk! Do I hear 10? A hen for a 10!
10! I'll give you 20 for the rock!
Pipe down, you lily-livered lubber! Strike your feathers, dearie. Show 'em your flock.
I hope you had fun on our voyage on Pirates of the Caribbean. This will forever be one of my favorite classic attractions. This is an attraction that only has one touch point, so as soon as you scan in, you can go ahead and book another one. I ended up playing some roulette in line, some Wheel of Fortune if you will, and unfortunately was not successful. Granted, I'm going for some headliners, some tier 1s at EPCOT, so the chance of me getting them is extremely small, probably like 1%, but I'm kind of curious to see if it's possible or not, so I will let you know. I'm about to go grab some lunch because it's past 1 o'clock here, believe it or not, so we're gonna head over to Pinocchio's Village House. I swear they have the best chicken fingers on property. I don't know why, they just are, and if you're gluten-free, trust me, they are truly the best. So let's go get a bite and let's continue to play some roulette and see what we can do. So we just finished eating lunch at Pinocchio's Village House. It was delicious as always, and I was able to play a little bit of Wheel of Fortune roulette, if you will, during lunch. Unfortunately, I was not able to get any headliners at EPCOT, but I was able to do some finagling for our reservations at Magic Kingdom. So I was able to actually get Tiana's Bayou Adventure, which of course is a tier 1 attraction. It's super hard to get, and it was not available when I booked 3 days out. So that was actually very exciting to be able to get. I actually was able to get the virtual queue earlier today, so I went ahead and released it so someone else would have a chance to be able to ride the attraction, and we will be talking about how to get virtual queues later. I will say though that it is definitely beneficial to get the Lightning Lane reservation if you can, because even with the virtual queue, you can still be waiting for over an hour sometimes. It's the same with Guardians at EPCOT. So if you can actually get the virtual queue, it's great because you can ride the attraction, but if you pay a little bit extra for the Lightning Lane, then you're going to be waiting that really short 5 to 15 minutes instead. Okay, we need to go through some more tips. So let's head over to Frontierland and we'll talk a little bit more about some tips. One pro tip is you don't have to be like me today and be all over the park. If you know anything about Magic Kingdom, you probably have noticed that I have gone from land to land across the park multiple times, crisscross, applesauce, all over the place. There are obviously different strategies you can take. One is book as soon as possible so that you can continue to book, but hey, that might mean you have to walk more, but you can skip the line probably for more attractions, or you can do the strategy of trying to book things closer together. If you're not familiar with the park map, you can pull that up online very easily or on your My Disney Experience app as well, just so you can familiarize yourself with what attractions are where in what lands and how close they are to each other, so you're not running all over the park like me today. But hey, I think this was kind of fun, and it is really fun just to get a change of scenery and just see how much we can get done while still obviously doing this educational content for all of you. So I hope you're enjoying the day as much as me. Let's go ride Tiana's Bayou Adventure. waiting here. It's definitely probably over an hour at this point. We only waited around 5 minutes using Lightning Lane, so that's the difference. And you can book it twice per day, hypothetically, if you are lucky enough to get the virtual queue and you're lucky enough to get the Lightning Lane. Another pro tip when riding Tiana's Bayou Adventure is if you want to get less wet, then get into the log first. There is a section of the attraction where the waterfall will get whoever is the person who basically gets in second more wet, and sometimes it gets stuck there, so there is a chance you could get really soaking wet during that part. Sometimes the cast members will have grace and someone is clearly watching it and they'll like turn it off or turn it down, but just keep that in mind if you are looking to get a little bit less wet than somebody else in your party. We had the Lightning Lane for Big Thunder Mountain, which honestly is a classic attraction and it's so much fun, but unfortunately it's been down all day. And sometimes things like this happen, attractions go down, whether it's all day or just even for a little while. But if it happens during the time where you have your reservation, then you get something called a multiple experiences pass. And essentially what will happen is Disney will send you a push notification to your phone, but if you miss it, it's okay, because if you pull up your app and you're looking where your passes are, it will also show up there. And you basically can utilize it for other attractions. So when you pull it up, if you go ahead and click on the pass itself and then you click on find out where you can go, there will be a list of different attractions that you can utilize this for instead. And then at the bottom it will list things that are not included. So one common question I do get is if you can use a multi-pass essentially for an attraction more than once, and the answer to that is typically no, you cannot book something again after you've used it once unless you have a virtual queue and a multi-pass, in which case you can ride it twice. The other instance is when this happens, when you get a multiple pass experience, you can use it for something that you've already used it for. So keep that in mind if you're interested in doing something more than once, or you can try to wait for the original attraction to come back up. For us, I'm not really sure what we're gonna do. We'll keep an eye on it and we'll see if it comes back up. If it doesn't, then maybe we'll use it on something else, or maybe we won't. We'll just have to wait and see, because we are gonna head to EPCOT later. But for now, we have a pass for It's a Small World. So let's head over and use it. We are walking over to It's a Small World, but I realized that some of you probably have an outstanding question, which is what happens if a single pass attraction goes down, also known as one of those first class attractions. And if that situation happens to you, then essentially you can only use it for that. When the attraction comes back up, it won't give you other options. So anyway, just something for you to know. Let's continue on to It's a Small World. Again, this will show you what it's like to be a Lightning Lane user compared to standby. You just breeze on by, straight to the front. It is pretty sweet, not gonna lie. It's expensive, but it is nice. So It's a Small World has 2 touch points versus just one. So you have to go through both before you can book something else. I decided to play some more roulette to see if I could get those headliners at EPCOT. So when I say headliners, I mean Remy's Ratatouille Adventure, and I also mean Frozen Ever After. And I just kept playing roulette, I kept refreshing, and eventually something did pop up. I clicked on it, but by the time I clicked on it, it was gone. I refer to these things as magic malfunctions, which unfortunately do happen because a lot of people are going for things and people are moving quickly, and sometimes you just don't move fast enough, and that's okay. The good news is though that things do come back if you keep trying and you just stick with it. If there's something you really want, then most likely you will be able to get it, even if it does appear that it's gone for the day. So just know that, stick to it, try to, do it when you're doing other things, like you're waiting in line or you are, I don't know, walking around, just whatever. I know some people feel like they're on their phone all day with this system, but you can choose how much you're truly on your phone, and you can kind of make it a game too, and you can pass the phone around to different family members if you want, or you can have it, linked to their account and they can just do it themselves if they want. And, some people can take turns doing it. Some people love it more than others. I know Michael really enjoys doing it a lot too. So you never know. It can be a fun game if you want it to be. So I'll keep trying for those headliners. I don't know if I'm gonna get them, but I do wanna walk around and just give you some more advice and tips and change up the scenery so it stays engaging and fun for everybody. So let's just take a stroll around Magic Kingdom and let's do that now. Let's talk about what order you should book things in terms of priority, in terms of how fast things are going. The system has changed a little bit because of the tier system. People are forced to book tier 2s, which means that things that weren't previously going early with Genie Plus are now, and things are just a little wacky, but we'll get used to it because with any new system we always do. But I'm gonna go ahead and talk you through what you should prioritize booking if these attractions are important to you. So at Magic Kingdom, priority 1 is definitely Tiana's Bayou Adventure. It's the newest attraction. It's the hardest one to get, probably will be for a while. So I do recommend that you try to go for that one first. But if for some reason you can't get it or you don't want it or you plan on using just a virtual queue instead, then of course you do have some other options. So Jungle Cruise is the one that goes extremely fast after Tiana's Bayou Adventure. So that's the next one I would prioritize, or the first one, just depending on if you want to do Tiana's Bayou Adventure at all. And then of course Peter Pan's Flight. At Magic Kingdom, the tier 2 rides that are currently going the quickest are Pirates of the Caribbean and Haunted Mansion. So be sure to prioritize those if they are important to you as well. At EPCOT, the tier 1 attractions that are going the fastest are Remy's Ratatouille Adventure, followed pretty closely by Frozen Ever After. And then as far as tier 2 attractions, Spaceship Earth is going really fast, followed by Mission Space. At Hollywood Studios, the tier 1 options that are going the fastest, they are Slinky Dog Dash. That one by far is going the fastest, but Rock and Roller Coaster is the second place one that is going the second fastest. The tier 2 options that are going the fastest, you have Tower of Terror, which is very surprising that it's even a tier 2 in the first place, but it is. And then you also have Toy Story Mania, so be sure to prioritize those if they're important to you. At Animal Kingdom, there are currently no tiers at that park. As a reminder, the thing that's going the fastest is Navi River Journey, and it's usually gone by around 11:30, so if that's something that you want to ride, make sure you prioritize that first. The next things that are going the second, third fastest are Kilimanjaro Safaris, followed by Expedition Everest, but again, there's really not a huge rush at that park, but just good information for you to have. Now, just a reminder that every family is different. I am not telling you that you must book these attractions by any means. These are just the ones that are going the fastest for your awareness in case you want to ride these things, to give you an idea of how to prioritize them. Please choose whatever it is that is most important to you and your family and what makes the most sense for all of you. You don't have to book these things by any means, but these are the ones that are going the fastest, so I hope that this helps. Now, because of the tier system and the fact that some things are going a lot faster than they used to, I think it's also helpful to talk about some things that are kind of in that mid-tier of things that will probably, still run out by early to late afternoon. So I'm going to go ahead and mention those in case it's helpful for you. At Magic Kingdom, Buzz Lightyear Space Ranger Spin is one that is mid-tier, going quickly, and then It's a Small World, and then Many Adventures of Winnie the Pooh and Under the Sea Journey of the Little Mermaid. I was shocked. Winnie the Pooh actually went first today out of that whole group, and it was gone by like 1 o'clock. So if that's important to you, make sure you prioritize it. At EPCOT, everything is going to go pretty fast from tier 1, and so I wouldn't really worry about mid-tier priorities. Anything else that's left over for the day will likely be there all day for you to use. Obviously keep an eye on availability and things like that, but there really aren't mid-tier priorities to worry about at that park, just because there really aren't that many options to begin with. At Hollywood Studios, we do have some new, I would say, mid-tier options that are going a little bit quickly. So the Indiana Jones Stunt Spectacular is actually going fairly quickly, again, because I think people are having to choose from that tier 2 section. That is one reason why it is going a lot faster than it used to. Another one that is going quickly is Alien Swirling Saucers and the Beauty and the Beast live on stage as well. It's really easy to get the shows via standby, so I don't recommend that you book a multi-pass for these. I wouldn't if I were you, just as a pro level tip. I think another reason why they are going so quickly is because there are limited show times, and of course once the shows are gone, they're gone for the day. At Animal Kingdom, your mid-tier priorities should be Festival of the Lion King, Finding Nemo, The Big Blue, and Beyond in Cali River Rapids. So I hope knowing the top priorities to consider for your booking windows in the morning are helpful, as well as what kind of is starting to go mid-tier during the day as well. I am more than happy to do individual park strategy videos for you if that would be helpful. Let me know in the comments below. I could just do a park day at Hollywood Studios, for example, walk you through the priorities that you should have if you want to get through all of the headliners and most of the attractions, if not all the attractions in the park. Just let me know in the comments below. There is a lot of debate in the Disney community if lightning lanes can overlap or not with this new system. And I will say that the consensus is that in the morning when you book, if you're booking, 3 days out when your window opens or a week out when your window opens, the system will not let you overlap times. But once you get into the park, sometimes it will let you overlap things. Sometimes it won't. Why? I don't know. I wish I had the answer for you, but there are times where I have used it where it has not let me overlap things at all once I was in the park. It's let me overlap as long as it wasn't more than 20 minutes. And today I've had things at the exact same time. So jury's out on that one. My recommendation is though to go in and definitely try to modify. If you do want something to overlap and you don't mind it overlapping, go ahead and try it. It won't hurt anything, but it seems like everyone's having a different experience with this for whatever reason. So let me know what your experience is in the comments below if you have used it and tried to overlap things. One thing to note is though that you want to make sure you can actually get to both things that are overlapping. If they're across the park or something crazy, it could just be a long walk. So just keep that in mind. But other than that, if you're trying to make the most use of the system, you want to book as much as possible, you don't mind walking fast, go for it. I have something new to introduce to you, and that is a virtual queue. So Walt Disney World has virtual queues in the park, and they are something that you can join for free, but you have to know when to join them, and you have to be able to actually get a boarding group in order to get it and experience an attraction through it. So the attractions that currently have virtual queues at Walt Disney World are Tron Light Cycle Run, which is currently behind me at Magic Kingdom, as well as Tiana's Bayou Adventure, again at Magic Kingdom. And Disney has said that Tiana's Bayou Adventure won't always have a virtual queue, so eventually that will likely change. I will put it in the show notes if it has changed, so be sure to go in there and just double check if you're curious if that has changed. It's already been made. Eventually it will have standby, and it will also have multi-pass, of course. It will continue to have multi-pass. And then the third attraction is Guardians of the Galaxy Cosmic Rewind at EPCOT. So those are the three attractions that currently have virtual queues. In order to join a virtual queue, you do it from your My Disney Experience app, just like so many things here at Disney. And you can join at 7 a.m. or you can join at 1 p.m. The 1 p.m. slot you do have to be in the park for. The 7 a.m. one you do not have to be in the park for. So that part is definitely very nice. In order to experience these attractions, some of them have some combinations of ways to ride them. So Tron Light Cycle Run behind me in Magic Kingdom, you can either join the virtual queue in order to experience the attraction, or you can buy the single pass, also known as the first class attraction pass. That is very expensive. You can also do both if you want to ride it 2 times that day. If you want to ride Tiana's Bayou Adventure and in Magic Kingdom, you can do multi-pass if you're lucky enough to get it. Again, that's one of the hardest ones to get right now, so just keep that in mind. And you can also ride it using the free virtual queue. Currently, again, eventually that will be standby, but right now it is virtual queue. And then the third is Guardians of the Galaxy Cosmic Rewind in EPCOT. In order to ride that attraction, you either need to buy the first class pass. I hope you can hear me over the screaming from John. You either have to buy the first class pass, which again is an additional cost, or you can join the free virtual queue, or you can do both and ride it in the same day. That one's highly competitive to get, so definitely be really on time. My advice is to try to use a world clock if you can, and make sure that you click in at the exact moment, or just keep refreshing the page a couple minutes before, and the second it opens, go ahead and join. And of course you want to make sure that your party is linked to My Disney Experience, but hopefully you already did that, because we already bought multi-pass, right? So you should be good to go there. But that's another example of a time that you need to do that. Now, virtual queues are free, so you don't have to pay extra for virtual queues, but you do have to know how to use them in order to experience some of these top tier attractions. So I hope that this information is helpful for you. Unfortunately, you cannot pick the time for your virtual queue, so whatever the system gives you is what you get. When it is your time to... Pausing for screaming for Tron. When it is your time for your virtual queue to be called, Disney will send you a push notification to your My Disney Experience app. You can also track which group they're on by opening your app and just checking the virtual queue section, and it will tell you what number they're currently on, so you can kind of get a feel for where they are, if there are any delays and things like that throughout the day. Let's take a moment to talk about what I refer to as filler attractions. Essentially, these are attractions that you will do in between your reservations. And just because they're called filler attractions doesn't mean that they're less worthy or less fun than some of the things you can get on multi-pass or single pass. I just want to be clear about that because I know sometimes people take it the wrong way. I absolutely love the filler attractions. Actually, they're some of my favorite. And if you've been following me for a while, you probably already know that Carousel Progress is my favorite attraction, followed by the People Mover. So these filler attractions are still a lot of fun, and you're not really just going from reservation to reservation all day. I wouldn't recommend that at all if you're here on vacation. You're going to do things in between. You're going to take breaks, you're going to get snacks, you're going to have dining reservations, you're going to meet characters, you're going to go to parades and shows and do other things like filler attractions. So just so you know, that is kind of what to expect from your day. This multi-pass system definitely helps, I would say, add to your day and get more things done during your day, but it's not the only thing you'll be doing during your day. And if you're curious to see what a typical day would look like as a resort guest, or you want to kind of see different park strategies in order to get things done while still being laid back and having fun, I'd be happy to make those videos for you too. Just let me know in the comments below. Another pro level tip is you are definitely going to want to bring an external charger for your phone for your Disney World trip, regardless if you're using multi-pass or single pass or not. You're going to be on My Disney Experience a lot, and your phone is going to die. Plus, you're going to be taking fun, you know, photos and videos and all of the things as well. So it's really important to have a charged phone during the day. So having one of these external chargers is key to having a successful day. It really has saved us so many times. Can't even count. Anyway, we really like the one from Anchor, and this one has actually multiple ports for you to be able to plug in, so you can plug in multiple devices if you want, and it's lasted so many years. So anyway, if you want the one we have, I'll go ahead and link it below, so it'll be there for you if you want to buy the same one. But we have had such a successful day at Magic Kingdom. We were able to ride so many things, and honestly, we could have booked so many more multi-passes if we wanted to. I was just stopping to explain things to you, and also I didn't get to the park till around 10:30, so just keep that in mind. So really, you can book so many here at the Magic Kingdom. I really think it is a good investment here if you do want to spend the extra money for your trip. But we have our single pass reservation we have to get to over at EPCOT, so we need to hop over there, and I will see you at EPCOT. If you want to easily get from Magic Kingdom to EPCOT, you can hop on the monorail, get off at the TTC, also known as the Ticket and Transportation Center, get the transfer to EPCOT, so you get on a second monorail, and then you will be at EPCOT. So that's what we're doing here. I know it's a little bit confusing if you don't know how the transportation works, so just wanted to share a little bit about the experience. Hello, magical humans! We have made it to EPCOT! Yay! Check out the ball. Love the ball forever and always. Of course, we have to save the galaxy in a minute, but wanted to let you know that on the monorail, I did play Roulette. I played Wheel of Fortune, and unfortunately, I lost. Still, absolutely nothing for Ratatouille or for Frozen Ever After. It's okay, though. Obviously, it's a lot harder to get things at the other parks because there's significantly less options. At EPCOT, there's less options, Disney's Hollywood Studios and Disney's Animal Kingdom. Animal Kingdom's pretty easy because not a lot of people use it, but I'd say Hollywood Studios and EPCOT, it's a lot more competitive. Hollywood Studios is by far the most competitive. So if you want strategy videos on these individual parks, you have to let me know. I'd be happy to make individual videos for you. But in the meantime, let's head over to Guardians of the Galaxy. One commonly asked question that I get very often is, do I need a magic band in order to use any of the Lightning Lane services, whether it's multi-pass or single pass? And the answer to that is no, you don't. You do need a smartphone, so a cell phone essentially, in order to use it, but you don't need a magic band. Magic bands are my preferred way because if you're staying on a Disney hotel property, you can use it to charge to your room, to unlock your door. You can basically use it for everything, to scan into a virtual queue or any of the Lightning Lane passes as well. So there are a lot of benefits for if you are staying on site. Even if you're staying off site, you can still use a magic band to scan in to the park. You can use it as your ticket, and you can use it to scan into any Lightning Lanes or virtual queues as well. You can't charge the room obviously or use it to unlock your hotel room, but for everything else. So I do love using a magic band. You can also set up something called Magic Mobile on your cell phone, and you can use your smartphone to scan into any passes that you would like to use. You could also use that as your park ticket, and you can also set it up on your Apple Watch if you have one as well, if you prefer. So there are plenty of different options for you to be able to use this. Unfortunately, you do need a smartphone though. You can't use a web browser, so you do at the very least need a smartphone. Hope that helps. We have officially made it to Guardians and I am ready to save the galaxy, but before I do, I want to cover one last commonly asked question. As you probably have noticed, the windows for return times today have been an hour long. So a lot of people will ask, is there any way you can be early and or late? As far as early, you can scan in up to 5 minutes early. As far as late, it's really up to the discretion of a cast member. If you're around 15 to 20 minutes late, usually it will still scan in green and you don't have to talk to anyone. But anything past that point, it typically will light up blue, meaning that you do need to talk to a cast member and kind of explain the situation. Most of the time they do have grace, but of course don't take advantage of the situation and never assume that they will say yes. It is truly up to them and how busy the attraction is and everything like that, so do your best to be on time. But yeah, sometimes things happen, of course, and Disney does everything they can to accommodate whenever they can. So always be nice to cast members, of course, but always helpful to have this information in case it happens to you, so hopefully you don't get too stressed out. Okay, it is time to save the galaxy. Finally, I am so pumped. This ride is amazing. You absolutely have to do it. Again, as a reminder, this is a single pass attraction. It is a first class attraction, meaning you have to pay extra per person per day in order to do this. You can also ride it for free using the virtual queue that you can join at 7 a.m. or at 1 p.m., but you must be in the park if you join the 1 p.m. slot. Okay, so you have the chance of riding it up to 2 times. If you're willing to pay for one, you can ride it for free using the virtual queue. Let's go have some fun. That attraction is always so much fun. I cannot recommend it enough. I know I keep saying that, but truly it is such a blast. It will put a huge smile on your face, and you could potentially get a different song every time you ride it because there are several songs that the ride rotates through, and it feels like sort of a different experience every time, even though it's not, and it's just a different song. So this time I got one way or another. So fun. I'm so glad we did that, and we successfully saved the galaxy, so that's what matters. All right, my lovely humans, we have had a very successful day. I have taught you everything you need to know in terms of how to use Disney's Lightning Lane services for both multi-pass and single pass, and I even threw in a little extra bonus material and taught you how to use virtual queues as well. If this information has been helpful for you, please like this video and subscribe to this channel because there will be so much more content just like this to help you plan your perfect Disney World vacation. If you have any questions about the service, please feel free to drop them below. A huge heartfelt thank you to all my patrons because without you, I could not be living my dream and making videos just like this for you. So thank you so much to each one of you. And until next time, I'm Kenzie. See you real soon.